Alrighty, good day guys, and welcome back to another draft analysis on the channel. Today we have UPO, which is a league run by a couple of my good buddies in Silver, Kurt, and Owen. As you can see by the first pick on the screen, it is an Ubers draft. It's one Uber per team. Obviously not everything's allowed, but still allowing a good bunch of stuff. Standard tier draft, all that fun shenanigans. So let's get straight into it. Waste no time here. And first pick, we were something like, I think out of 16 coaches, we were like 12th or 10th or something. So not a great pick. Like really kind of a middle to late one, which is not what you want. You either want something nice and early to get a broken Uber, or you want a late wheel to get like two strong picks. But we didn't get that. So round one, I grabbed McGinner, and this was a lower tier Uber, but most of the Ubers were you're not allowed to use Z. But McGinner was one of those ones that you can use Z, and this thing it's a great mon. It's a lot of fun. It can be so many sets. It can be bulky. It can be like a slow pivot. You can run shift key. You can run trick room. You can just like blow things back. Fairy MZ with Fleur Cannon, it's just a nuke. Like you claim something, and then you're at +1. You can click +1 Fleur Cannon, and that plus like Focus Blast, Flash Cannon, like especially if you're under Trick Room or you've got a shift gear up and you're faster than things, this thing just claims lives. And you've got to prep so hard for a McGinner with Z that a bulky pivot into some of my later hard-hitting mons that you'll see down the track, like this opens so many ways for me to build around, and it's Fairy Steel typing, two phenomenal typings. And yeah, this is just going to be a lot of fun to use this season. Moving on into our next pick, straight off the bat, we're going to grab Kieran Black. And this thing was a mon that I've never used. Well, actually, I have used, but a long time ago, and that league died. But this thing is phenomenal. Like a Dragon Ice typing that hits so well offensively, and then you throw in coverage moves like Fusion Bolt, Earth Power, like Shadow Claw, Iron Head. This thing, like, there is very, very few dedicated checks to Kieran Black. Just with the Terravolts or Levitators aren't even immune. You might think something like a Rotom Heat is a great check to this thing, and then you remember, oh, hang on, I don't have Levitate. Earth Power just like blows me away. Yeah, this is a phenomenal mon. Like even Tabu Fini, which resists the Iron Head, like you got to catch a Fusion Bolt. You can run so many different sets. You can run like a bulkier Roost set. You can run Z Hail. This is our other Z captain. So we have our first two picks were also our Z users, two phenomenal Z users. Like Z Free Shock is just nuke something unless you heavily resist it and heavily invested in defense, and then that's probably going to be like water types, which then you can just click Fusion Bolt afterwards, and like there's not a lot that wants to take a hit with this. My good buddy John Jr. loves this thing, and he's been on my back for me to try it. So I thought, you know what, it's time. Pair this thing with McGinner. We got a Dragon Fairy Steel Core. We got an Ice type. We've got two Z users. Like it's looking good. So moving on, round 3, I decided to grab Tapu Bulu, and I've used Tapu Koko before. I've used Tapu Fini before, but I'd never used Bulu. And Bulu looks like I kind of wanted another fairy, because McGinner doesn't really want to be switching in and checking dragons all the time, because some dragons get like Earthquake, some get Fire coverage, and so they have their ways around it. So I kind of wanted a second fairy, just to sort of, although Bulu is not defensive in a way, it sort of, between the two of them, they can check all the dragons. And I mean, you get grassy terrain, you can run like AV or Spadef Bulu, leftovers plus grassy terrain, you're getting 12% back a turn. A subset with Bulu is really nice because you get half your sub back in one turn, and if they can't break it, well then you just get all your HP back. It's a phenomenal mon. Grassy terrain, I thought, with McGinner, like taking away one of its two weaknesses, like that's phenomenal. That means like I have a bit of a fire weakness at the moment, but I'll patch that up later down the line. But I have plenty of ways to break fire types in like Stone Edge from Bulu, Earth Power from Kieran Black. Like you can just blow through them with like a Z Focus Blast or something from McGinner, or a Hidden Power. Yeah, so this mon, banded sets on Bulu, scarf sets on Bulu, bulk up sword stands. This mon is very phenomenal. You can even run Carmine. I've seen Carmine Bulu put in work, like a bulkier Carmine set with like a lot of Fizdef, leftovers. Then you Carmine up, raise your Spadef. Things have a lot of trouble breaking this. But yeah, I thought terrain was really nice with Magina. I thought the extra fairy typing was nice. A bulky grass, like it fit really nicely. It uses up one of our free slots because it is another tier 1, but I was okay with that. Round 4, I decided to grab Holucha because I was like, well, Coco and Finny are already gone. My speed tiers at the moment are kind of terrible, so I need something that's going to be fast. And what goes well with grassy terrain that's fast and can, again, clean games? That seems to be the theme of my draft at the moment, is mons that can just clean games and win. And that's Holucha. And I haven't used this before. I've used Coco and Finny in the past, but I didn't grab Lucha with either of them. So I thought this was a fun mon to throw on the roster. This is UPO is kind of I want to do well and I want to have a good crack at some of the stronger guys, but I have another draft coming out very soon, in a few weeks or something. That's a league I really want to take seriously, and so this was like a little bit more fun. This was more, rather than drafting a super competitive team from the outset, it was okay. I'm going to draft some fun stuff and like stuff that's good, but I still want to have fun with. And Lucha fit that to a T. So now going on round 5, yes, 5 I can count. I grabbed Jolteon, and this is one of my all-time favorite mons. This, in my opinion, is my second favorite electric behind Coco to use. It's just Quick Feet or Volt Absorb. That just in itself causes so much problem, because Quick Feet means you can outspeed any Scarfer, because no Scarfer's running enough speed to outspeed a +1 Jolteon. You get a Scarf and you can switch moves. You get Baton Pass and Volt Switch for momentum. So they think they come in to block your Volt Switch. You click Baton Pass, you get out of there. You've got Synchronize to hit. I think it's called Synchronize. Synchronize to hit a lot of other electric types. It's a base 120 Psychic type move. You get Shadow Ball, Volt Switch, Work Up. Doesn't get the best coverage, but its speed tier is just something I really liked here. It helps me outspeed a lot of the Ubers, because we've got a lot of fast Ubers like Deoxys Attack at the moment. My only way to outspeed that was a Scarfer or Lucha after Unburden. So I wanted something that could just naturally outspeed that and pick that thing off. As long as other mons up there, of course. So yeah, that's where Jolteon fit in. Electric type was nice. An electric immunity was nice for things like Holucha. Yes, this is another ground weakness, but again, we have the terrain, so we can actually live some earthquakes if grassy terrain is up. So you'll see the theme of this draft. I do want to work Bulu's terrain into it, because as an offensive grass type, Bulu doesn't always have the best matchup. But then with its like sheer power and the ability to run Band or Scarf or Swords Dance, it can almost blow past some of its checks. And then if a lot of mons take advantage of the terrain, then we can have some fun there. So yeah, that was Jolteon. Not too much going into it, other than I thought it fit the team nicely. So we're going to move on to pick 6 now, and I got Gliscor, and I wanted a ground type. But I also wanted a ground immunity that wasn't Holucha. And I figured a second flying, I wanted some reliable defog, because at the moment my only removal was again Holucha. And I wanted those rolls to be taken off it. And I grabbed Gliscor. And Gliscor is a great switch into status moves. Things like T-Wave, people might be wanting to throw around Toxic on some fat mons that you'll see coming later. It's a nice status absorber, it's a nice defogger, it's a nice pivot. It can even like set up with Swords Dance agility. It can eat a berry or a Yachi. Well, Yachi is a berry. What am I talking about? It can eat a berry or like use a power of, I don't know, use an item, use a grassy seed even, and then click acrobatics for some big flying type stab. It's a really fun looking mon. And it's again another mon that I haven't used before. So far on this team, I have used Jolteon extensively, and I've used Kyurem Black once for like half a season, and that's it. and I didn't really know how it was going to go. This looked like it fit the team. It was something that didn't really need terrain, and it looked a bit fun. So I thought, you know what, why not? Round 7, I grabbed Blissey. And yeah, Blissey's a tier 3 mon. And I needed some fat, because at the moment, well, I didn't have anything to switch into special Ubers that wasn't AV Magearna, and AV Magearna is not a role I want to be penciled into ever. So I wanted that option. And I wanted the option to bring Blissey so it could just sit in front of things. It can T-Wave, it can S-Toss, it can set rocks, which is something else I needed, because I don't think I actually had a rocker on the squad at this point. No, Gliscor gets rocks. So I had one rocker on the squad at this point, and it was round 7. So I desperately needed to get Blissey. It fit everything I was after. It's a nice cleric for the team. Passing those fat wishes into Magearna, Kyurem Black, Tapu Bulu is going to make that they can switch in so much more freely, and that was the aim of the game, to get Magearna, to get Kyurem Black, get Bulu in a lot more freely. That's why you got things like Jolteon, you've got Gliscor for pivot, you got Blissey as a cleric, so it's a lot of fun. There's not too much to this pick other than it sits in front of things, it statuses, it can stealth rock. It even has, it's a bit better than Chansey in that it actually gets an item that isn't Eviolite, and it has base 75 special attack, so things like mons that could normally sit in front of it with really high HP stats, you can actually click moves that would still break subs and do all that sort of thing. So yeah, again, never used this mon before. I've used Chansey Scum in League before. Yes, that is very scummy. I apologize for anyone who had to face that. But yeah, Blissey is a much more support role rather than a dedicated wall on this squad, and I think that'll allow it to shine a bit better. So round 8 now, I grab Sneasel. First of all, Pink Sneasel looks fire. But second of all, this mon was in tier 5. And this is not a tier 5 mon. It gives me another fantastic speed tier. It gives me a dark type. It gives me a secondary ice type as an offensive ice. It's very good. It gives me Ice Shard priority. Gives me knockoff, which is great for the plethora of psychic Ubers. Ice Shard's great for the extra dragons you get with Ubers. It's just a great mon, and you can run Swords Dance Banded sets, Life Orb sets. This thing can hit really hard, and is not a tier 5 mon. It requires some prep, and so I grabbed it round 8 because it was value, and that's what I saw it being there for. And I thought this was great value, and it shouldn't be left down here any longer than it should. It fits nicely. My team is looking a little bit physical at the moment, in the likes of Gliscor, Bulu, Sneasel, Lucha. Kyurem Black is mixed, but that's still... So, really only our dedicated special attackers at the moment are, Jolteon, Magearna, and then maybe Kyurem Black. But, yeah, so that'll be patched up in a little bit. But yeah, other than that, I think our team's shaping together really nicely. This is another mon that I haven't used. I've used Weavile before. I really enjoy it. But I haven't used Sneasel. So yeah, round 9, grabbed Garbodor. And this was another tier 5 mon, if I'm not mistaken. And this gave me Hazard Stack. As you can see, my removal is Booty. My removal is a Hawlucha, and my removal is a Gliscor. This was another tier 5. And I needed either some more removal, and in tier 5 there wasn't really much that fit, considering my ice weakness is kinda there. So I decided to grab Garbodor as a way to force the opponent to defog. So I can bring Hazard Stack. I can set rocks with Blissey or Gliscor, and then I can Hazard Stack with Garb and bring Spikes and T-Spikes, and that means that I can use some of my Phatomons to just sort of sit on things while I rack up Spikes and T-Spikes damage, and then go into Kyurem, Black, Magearna, Hawlucha, Bulu, even Jolteon, to just clean the game once everything's been chipped down a little bit. And I thought that worked really nice with the playstyle of this team. It gave me yet another avenue that I could take, and just a way that I could play this team a bit differently. That's one thing I do like to do with my drafts, is make sure that I can play the team in as many different playstyles as I can without taking a hit on the function, the overall functioning and how good the draft is, because I believe that if the more sets and the more playstyles that I'm forcing the opponent to prep for, the less likely they are to prep for the correct one, or the less likely they will be able to heavily prep for the correct one. And I think that's how I can win some games. Moving on to pick 10 now. I grabbed Alola Marowak. And Alola Marowak is something, as you can see, I've got one Trick Room Setter and Beginner, and we're going to get one more in just a sec. And this Mon is phenomenal under Trick Room. There is no switch in. It's an Electric Immunity. It's a third one for the squad. Yeah, with Jolteon and Gliscor. This is also a... it can run Rock Head, it can be Cursed Body, it can run Defensive, it's another Rocker for the team, it's a Fire type and a Ghost type, which is a normal immunity, which is what I needed. Yeah, it's a great Mon, it has no switch-ins, and under Trick Room, this thing can be phenomenal. Set up a Swords Dance with this thing, if you've got 3 turns of Trick Room left, then you claim 3 kills, or just about. Like, if you have the right coverage, like, it gets Earthquake, it gets Shadow Bone, it gets Flare Blitz, it gets Thunder Punch, it gets Low Kick or Brick Break, I'm pretty sure. Like, it gets so much coverage, and it's hit so hard with Thick Club. Like, our boy Alola Marowak here is about to claim some lives. And that's scary considering it's a tier 3, and we have, look at the power in our tier 1 and 2 slots, and Uber slot. So, yeah, I'm really liking how the draft's coming together at this point. And so with 2 picks left, I knew my Mega was safe, and so I grabbed Lurantis, pick 11. And Lurantis was another Trick Room piece, probably not going to come a lot. Also gets Contrary Leaf Storm, but it's also another Defogger. Yeah, it doubles up on the grass of Bulu. It was a Defogger in tier 4 that, like, tier 4 I really wasn't liking the look of. I even asked if I could grab another tier 5 instead of tier 4 because there was nothing there, and I sat on this pick for a long time. I really didn't like what was in there. Lurantis I knew I needed one more defog option at least, or spin. And I can see, maybe if I'm up against the Stiggy Webs team, and I can bring in Lurantis with Contrary, click Leaf Storm once, and then I'm at +2. And then find me a switch in. But yeah, it's just sort of, it is there, and I can see it coming to 1 or 2 games, having looked ahead at the matchups, but I'm contemplating dropping it for something else. I'm not sure. It's a bit of an iffy pick for me. I guess it can fill more of that special attacking grass role, which Bulu really can't unless it gets up a Calm Mind. But yeah, that's sort of what Lurantis is there to do. It's the one weird pick on this team that I don't really like. Yeah, we'll just see how it goes this season. Not every draft's going to be perfect. And I mentioned that my Mega was safe. And so round 12, we grab Mega Slowbro. And this thing is fat. And it gets a lot better in Ubers than it is in standard format because it's fat. It can just sit in front of physical Ubers for days. Like, it's something like a Banded Weavile's knockoff doesn't even do. Like, let me just, you know what, I'm going to run that calc. Let's just check this right now. Slowbro Mega Weavile. So Banded Weavile's knockoff does nothing to this. If I max HP, max defense, which you're never running, it does 43%. Like, this thing eats hits for days. It is a phenomenal Mega in my opinion. I've never used it before. It's yet another Mon that I haven't used. Its dual stabs are great. It's another Trick Room Center. It's a very reliable Trick Room Center. It hits pretty hard as well with base 130 special attack. Like Future Sign with Scald, Psyshock, you throw Grassy Terrain Recovery on this thing and it's like a built-in leftovers, like it just doesn't die. It only dies if you have like a special attacker or a Toxic that can wear this thing down because it's got base 95 HP and base 180 defense with 130 special attack. Like, what? How do you beat this thing? And then if you go into special attacker, well, I've got Blissey, so it forces people to bring mixed attackers against me, which means that they might not be able to prick up those KOs that they need. And if they're bringing a mixed attacker, well, maybe it doesn't quite have coverage to hit them again, or a Cure 'em Black, and I can go into something there. And I felt this was just a very nice piece to round out the Trick Room Chord, also round out the squad in general. It gave me a Water type, it gave me a Psychic type. And I think it's going to be a very phenomenal piece this season. But yeah, so that's our team. You can see it on the left. We have on the right. Sorry, I know my lefts and rights, I swear. We got Magina and Kieran Black as IZ users. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Shout out to Kurt, who made all these graphics for me. I'll leave his link down below somewhere. You should go check him out. He does pretty cool stuff, as you can see. Looks pretty fire. But yeah, other than that, I will see you guys all in the next video.